Ladies and gentlemen, delegates, HLMs, associates, alumni, boys and girls, welcome to the BPSA 75th. We're delighted you're here tonight, and we're going to take a little walk through BPSA history. Hit it.
In 1942, a delegation of pharmacy students from 11 schools of pharmacy attended the meeting of the National Union of Students. This delegation successfully argued the case for setting up of a National Pharmacy Student Organisation, originally named the Pharmacy Faculty of the National Union of Students. In 1943, the first conference of the new association was held at the School of Pharmacy in Bloomsbury Square, London. This organisation was later named the British Pharmaceutical Students Association, and John Shinner was elected as the first BPSA president.
In 1948, the BPSA had built up contact with pharmacy schools in 19 different countries. And when all the international delegates came together, they agreed to create the International Pharmacy Students Federation, IPSF.
1965 was an interesting year for the BPSA. They reached out with multidisciplinary links by having several meetings with the British Dental Students Association. They held their annual conference in London, at which a motion was narrowly defeated that suggested that the influx of women was the cause of the degradation of the pharmacy profession.
In 1966, as a result of conversations between the BPSA's exec and the Society's Council, we had the creation of what we now know as the pre-registered training year.
In 1972, the Vice President at the time came up with the idea of area conferences to make students more aware of current affairs in pharmacy.
In 1983 and 84, pharmacy saw the largest uprising of students in its entire history, as the University Grants Department decided to close the Heriot-Watt School of Pharmacy, and despite protests this eventually closed in 1985.
Back in 1985, it was the outgoing president of the BPSA actually put together the very first young pharmacist group in the United Kingdom. In 1990, the BPSA were presented with the presidential chain by Joyce and David Kearney.
In 1992, it was the first year that an annual conference was held in the city without a School of Pharmacy, York. There was uproar about the Society's proposal for a £100 fee for the pre-registration exam.
In 1997, the publication of the Crown Report on prescribing and the role of the pharmacist led to a large discussion about the extended role of the pharmacist at the annual conference in Bath.
In 1999, the BPSA underwent a brand change. We moved away from the BPSA pill and moved towards the new BPSA crest. We also created the role of the BPSA IT officer, which helped coincide and design the new BPSA website.
In 2000, after discussion with the College of Pharmacy, the BPSA introduced the Professional Development Scheme to ensure students had access to lifelong learning.
1997 was a pivotal year in pharmacy and for BPSA because the MPharm degree was launched, which was a 4-year degree. This resulted in a fallow year in the year 2000 when there were no graduates from England entering pre-registration training. In 2001/2002, the regulator, which was the RPSGB at the time, introduced a new form of pre-registration training which included the 76 performance standards that we have today, and MPharm graduates who were 4 years doing their studies.
In 2010, the RPSGB demerged into the RPS and the GPHC. The BPSA at this point became the official student organisation of the newly formed professional body, the Royal Pharmaceutical Society, which has since supported membership of the BPSA. In 2015, the BPSA launched a collaboration with the Royal Pharmaceutical Society to develop the pre-foundation programme.
This innovative and world-leading project will allow students to engage in their professional development from their first day of study to their final day of practice.
This will lead into the RPS Foundation and faculty programs, which are there to support and develop pharmacists throughout their entire career journey.
Ready when you are.
So this is take two because Jess nodded and Jess said goes apparently, so we're on take two now.
Well, we've really enjoyed this week. We hope you've really enjoyed this week. I think
it's been great to be part of the BPSA as more than just a student. I definitely feel like we've done something.
Yeah, I think we've made some really, really good friends. We made some incredible. Yes,
I'm going to keep rocking up. Meeting people in my career, being like
100th BPSA. I expect top table.
The entire executive of the 50th conference have come to the 75th, so I am planning on dragging all of the 75th exec to the 100th BPSA.
Yeah.
In the few years that I've been involved in the BPSA, it's changed a huge amount. I've been involved for 5 years, including my time as a rep, 4 years on the executive, and throughout each of those years, it's grown year on year. The number of people getting involved has gotten bigger and bigger. The number of events we do has gotten bigger and bigger. Everything has got bigger and better in the last 5 years. The BPSA, it's addictive. It's like having your own little family. You have your people that are there for you no matter what. Even if you disagree, get along, they're always there for you, and they'll always be there for you. I think that's the biggest thing that I'll take away from the BPSA.
When I went to my very first conference back in 2008 in Kingston, I never thought I'd be standing here 9 years later still involved with the BPSA. You really do make friends for life, and I know I definitely have.
So the best thing about being on the exec for me this year has been networking with lots of different organisations that I never would have been able to come in contact with before. So I've been to lots of Health Education England meetings, I've been to Pharmaceutical Council meetings, been to GPHC meetings, all of which I wouldn't have been able to have the opportunity to do had I not been on the BPSA exec. It's been absolutely amazing to go out and meet loads of different people and actually build relationships with them as well. It's been really good.
I've been on the executive the last 3 years, so I've been EO twice, the European officer and the treasurer. I feel like it's grown me as a person, being able to be more confident and being able to go to events and meet people that I wouldn't be able to have the opportunity to do so. I believe the association has grown over the last couple of years as we're being able to satisfy members' needs now and listening to what they want and doing member-led events, for example, the Lord's Sports Pharmacy Tournament.
Hi everybody, my name's Johnny, and a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, I was BPSA president for a couple of years, and I've been asked to make a short video just to talk briefly about my thoughts about the association. It might not come as a great surprise to many of you that I had such a fantastic time when I was a BPSA member and an exec member that I can't actually remember an awful lot of what went on in the late 90s and early noughties. But what I do remember and still respect is the fact that BPSA is such a fantastic aspirational organisation. It gives students and trainees so much confidence to make the most of their studies, and more importantly to make the most of being a pharmacist and helping the patient and public that we look after. BPSA really taught me that it was okay to be passionate about the profession. It was okay to love it, and it was okay to talk about it. As you know, I haven't shut up since, and probably won't ever. I've been really fortunate to have a fantastic career as a community pharmacist, and a lot of my experiences in BPSA have underpinned how I've developed my practice over the years. BPSA was one of the first pharmacy bodies to actively advocate for pharmacist prescribing, and guess what, a few years later a lot of us have a prescribing pad, even in community practice, and we use them. We've also been allowed to develop our clinical skills as a profession, and this is something I feel that BPSA has always supported, and the confidence that being an active BPSA member gave me allowed me to really kick on and develop my practice. We do all sorts of wonderful things in our community pharmacy. We can look in people's ears, we can listen to their chests, we can write them a prescription, we can help them stop smoking, etc, etc, etc. It's a fantastic job if you make the most of it, and we need to continue to work hard to make sure that everybody in our profession has access to these wonderful opportunities. Now, I couldn't say anything about BPSA without mentioning Joyce Kearney, our pharmacy fairy godmother. To be honest with you, most of my career and the fact that I live in a wonderful place with a wonderful family and friends, I owe a lot of that to Joyce. It was Joyce who encouraged myself and Noel Wicks, who was also an ex-president, to move to Scotland and to buy the little pharmacy which I'm speaking to you from now. And this is where I continue to work 17 years later, because I love it. Joyce encouraged us to make the move and take the dive into ownership, and we haven't looked back since. We now own a regional group of pharmacies across Scotland, and we're well into the 20s in terms of number of sites. I'm very fortunate that I've got great business partners, Mike and Noel, who look after most of that side of things, and I'm allowed to just get on with things in my little pharmacy here, looking after the patients who use our service. So I wanted to say thank you, Joyce, and thank you, David, for really making us feel it was okay to dream big and to follow through on some of that as well. The song goes, we love you, Joycey, and I certainly love you, Joycey. I love you to bits. I'm sorry I don't keep in touch better. I'll try harder in future. But you're not alone. My mum moans at me about that as well. Anyway, guys, have a fantastic conference and a fantastic evening, and I'll sign out now. Thank you.